All right, number five. This is one of the problems I was referring to in the overview at the beginning. We want to add up the numbers from 1 to 530. So the system will show you one way. So if you go through practice, they will show you they're going to be adding up pairs of numbers. So I'm just going to show you. I'm sorry, running off the screen. So I'm just listing 1, 2. I'm going to go dot, 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 529, comma 530. Okay, so what they do in the system is they're going to be adding up the outside numbers. So if you add up 1 and 530, that's going to give you 531. If you add up 2 and 529, it's going to give you another 531. And that's going to be the same all the way in. And so what the system does is they add up how many 531s you have, and you just multiply 531 by how many pairs you have. Well, that's going to take some time. There's a method to the madness trying to figure that out. However, there is a formula whenever you're adding up numbers in a sequence. So I'm going to show you that formula. And it works if you start with 1 and go all the way up. Now, if you start with something else or you count by pattern, there's a different formula, and I will show you that when we get there. So for right now, here is that formula. When you count starting from 1 going up to some term, okay, it has to start with 1, count by ones, and go up to some number. You're going to do the last number, which we're going to call that n. You're going to multiply that by n plus 1, so one more, and divide by 2. That's it. So how many numbers do I have in this sequence? N is 530. So I'm going to do 530 plus, not plus, sorry, times. I'm going to add 1 to that, so it's going to be 531, and then I'm going to divide by 2. That's it. So pull up the calculator. 530 times 531 divided by 2. And that gives me 140,715. So 14715. I think that's going to be a lot faster than this other method. Number 6, a president, vice president, and a student, a president and vice president for a student organization are chosen from 7 people. How many different president/vice president combinations are possible? So I'm not sure of the method that the system uses to solve this, but I will show you a formula that you can use to solve this. So we have 7 people. Okay, we are going to be choosing 2 of them, and we want to know how many different possible combinations there are. So this is another or a different method of problem solving. You could probably try to go and list them. Well, there's 2 different ways. So the simple one is this. We have 7 people to choose from. So if I'm going to choose my president first, there are 7 options. Okay. Once I choose a president, I cannot choose him for a vice president. Okay. So that means if I'm choosing a vice president, I have 6 options. Okay. And you multiply those. There's a multiplication rule. You just do 7 times 6, and that will give you 42. So that tells you there should be 42 possible options. So once you use one, you lose it. Now, you could try to list these, like all 42 options. That would take some time, but that would basically be the idea of saying, okay, what if person number 1 was chosen for the president, that means I could choose person number 2 for vice president. I could choose 1 for president and person number 3, 1 and 4, so on until you get to 1 and 7. Then you could start with, okay, what if I chose number 2 to be the president? Then I could do number 1 for the vice president. That's going to be a different option because those are the same 2 people, but they got different positions. Vice president and president are different. And then I can do 2 with 3, 2 with 4, so forth and so on. If you do this, you would have 7 columns because you would start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way across, and you would pair them with the other numbers. So you have a 7 by 6, same thing here. And then there's one more method, which I'm not know if you're familiar with some statistical probabilities, but it is a combination formula. It is NCR. Okay, so N is the number of candidates you have. R is how many you're going to choose. So that means I would have 7 people. I'm choosing 2 of them. Okay. Or maybe permutations if I'm thinking about this, because order is important. Yes, order is important. We want to do permutations, not combinations. This would be 7P2. Okay, what that means is we have 7 factorial, which I'll show you what that is. And then on the bottom you do 7 minus 2 factorial. 7 minus 2. So what factorial means is you're going to multiply starting with that number all the way down till you get to 1. So that means 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the bottom, 7 minus 2 is 5. So you would have 5 factorial on the bottom. So that means you would start with 5 and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And notice on the top and bottom, if the same number's there, you can divide them out. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 will divide out, and that leaves you with, again, the 7 times 6. This is also in this graphing calculator, so if you downloaded this on your Windows, I just want to show you that as well. I'm going to turn this on, clear out what I have. You first have to input the first number, which is going to be 7. If you go to Math, I'm going to arrow over to probability. This is more of a probability formula. And you see option number 2 has this NPR. So I would do 2. So I have the 7 is my first number, NPR. We were choosing 2. And so I would do enter. And it shows me 42 as well. So a couple different methods. Probably the easiest is just to think, okay, if I have, how many options do I have to choose my president? 7. Once I choose a president, there's only 6 options left to choose a vice president, and then 7 times 6 will give you 42.